Thomas was my rock, the son who never strayed far from home. Born under a harvest moon in our little Georgia town, he'd been my anchor since the day his father passed away when Thomas was just 10. I raised him single-handedly, scrubbing floors by day and sewing dresses by night to keep food on the table. Thomas grew into a fine man, tall, with my late husband's kind eyes and a smile that could light up the darkest room. He married Elise, a sweet girl from church, and they built a life together in the house next door to mine. No children yet, but they were trying, or so they said. Life was steady, like the slow roll of the river that bordered our property. It was a sunny afternoon in late spring, the kind where the air hums with bees and the scent of blooming magnolias. I'd ordered groceries delivered. My knees aren't what they used to be, and needed cash for the tip. Thomas had left his wallet on the kitchen counter after stopping by for coffee that morning. I didn't think twice about opening it. We'd always shared everything. But as I pulled out a 20, a small photo slipped out and fluttered to the floor like a fallen leaf. I bent down, my back protesting, and picked it up. It wasn't the faded picture of me that Thomas had carried since high school, the one from our family picnic where I'm laughing with flour on my apron. No, this was a young woman, maybe in her early 20s, with curly hair tied back in a ponytail and eyes that sparkled with mischief. Her smile was unfamiliar, yet there was something about her chin, the tilt of her head, that tugged at my memory like a half-forgotten dream. Who was she? A colleague? A friend? My mind raced, but deep down, a cold dread began to coil in my stomach. I tucked the photo back in, but it haunted me all day. By evening, when Thomas came over for dinner, our weekly ritual of fried chicken and collard greens, I couldn't hold it in. Elise was in the living room, flipping through a magazine, while Thomas helped me set the table. I pulled him aside into the pantry, the smell of spices thick around us. "Thomas," I said, my voice low but steady, holding out the photo. "Who is she?" His face crumpled like paper in a fist. The color drained from his cheeks, and he looked away, rubbing the back of his neck, a habit he'd had since boyhood when caught in a lie. "Mama, I didn't want you to know." "Know what?" I asked, my voice trembling now, the photo shaking in my hand. The pantry felt smaller, the walls closing in. He took a deep breath, his broad shoulders slumping. "Her name's Mia. She's my daughter." The world stopped. "Daughter?" The word echoed in my head like a thunderclap. Elise and Thomas had no children. After years of trying, doctors had said it might never happen. How could this be? "Explain," I said, my hands gripping the edge of the shelf for support, the wood biting into my palms. Thomas leaned against the door, his eyes misty. He started from the beginning, his voice barely above a whisper. It was 8 years ago, before he met Elise. He'd been working as a mechanic in Atlanta, young and foolish, drowning his sorrows after a bad breakup. There was a bar, a woman named Carla, beautiful, fiery, but troubled. One night turned into a fling, nothing serious, or so he thought. They parted ways, and he moved back home, met Elise at a church picnic, and built the life we all cherished. But last year, Carla reached out. She was dying, cancer, aggressive and unforgiving. And Mia? She was Thomas's, proven by a paternity test Carla had insisted on after seeing his picture online. Mia's mother had kept her a secret, raising her alone in a rundown apartment on the city's edge. Now, with Carla fading, Mia needed a father. Thomas had been visiting them in secret, sending money, getting to know his daughter. The photo was from their first meeting at a park, Mia on a swing, laughing as Thomas pushed her higher. I felt betrayed, a knife twisting in my gut. "How could you hide this from me?" "From Elise?" My voice cracked, tears blurring my vision. All those late nights he'd said were overtime, the distant look in his eyes. I'd chalked it up to work stress. "Mama, I was scared," he admitted, his own tears falling. "Scared of losing Elise, of disappointing you. You raised me better than this. But Mia, she's innocent. She looks just like you, Mama." Those eyes, They're yours." His words hit like a wave, crashing over me. I thought of my own secrets, buried deep, the ones I'd never shared, like the reason Thomas's father really left us, not passed away as I'd told everyone. Shame, pride, I'd protected my son from pain, just as he was trying to protect us now. We sat at the kitchen table long after Elise had gone to bed, unaware. Thomas poured out his soul, the guilt eating him alive, the joy of discovering Mia, the fear of what came next. Carla had only months left, and Mia, at 7 years old, was bright but fragile, asking questions about her new daddy. Thomas showed me more photos on his phone. Mia at school plays, blowing out birthday candles, her small hand in his. Each one chipped away at my anger, replacing it with an aching sorrow. By dawn, I knew what we had to do. "We tell Elise," I said firmly. "Secrets like this fester. They poison everything." Thomas nodded, exhausted but relieved. That afternoon, we gathered in the living room, the sun filtering through lace curtains like judgment. Elise sat on the couch, her knitting in her lap, looking between us with confusion. Thomas knelt before her, the photo in his hand, and spilled it all. Her face went from puzzled to pale, then flushed with hurt. "A daughter? All this time?" she whispered, her voice breaking. Tears fell like rain, hers, his, mine. I held her hand, my own trembling. "Child, this ain't easy, but family ain't about perfection. It's about forgiveness." Elise pulled away at first, storming to the bedroom, slamming the door. Hours passed in silence, the house heavy with unspoken words. But Elise emerged that evening, eyes red but resolute. "I love you, Thomas," she said, her voice steady. "And if Mia's yours, she's ours. But no more secrets. Ever." The next weeks were a whirlwind. We met Mia at the hospital, where Carla lay frail but fierce, her eyes lighting up at Thomas's arrival. Mia was shy at first, hiding behind her mother's bed. But when I offered her a cookie from my purse, the same recipe I'd baked for Thomas as a boy, she smiled. Those eyes, indeed my own, stared up at me with curiosity. "Are you my grandma?" she asked, her voice small. "Yes, sugar," I replied, my heart swelling and breaking all at once. "I am." Carla passed peacefully a month later, her hand in Thomas's, whispering thanks for giving Mia a future. We brought Mia home, transforming the spare room into a haven of pink quilts and stuffed animals. Elise took to her like a duck to water, teaching her to braid hair and bake pies. Thomas beamed, the weight lifted from his shoulders. Yet that photo still haunts me. I keep it now, tucked in my Bible, a reminder of how fragile trust is. We healed, but scars remain. The late-night whispers, the occasional doubt in Elise's eyes. Mia's laughter fills our home, bridging the gaps. But I wonder, what other secrets lurk in the shadows? As Auntie May, I've learned that family is a tapestry, woven with love and lies, strength and sorrow, and sometimes the threads that bind us are the ones that nearly tear us apart. The river outside our window rolls on, carrying away the past, but echoes linger. Thomas catches my eye sometimes, gratitude in his gaze. Mia calls me Nana May, her hugs fierce and pure. Elise and I share quiet teas, our bond deeper for the storm we weathered. Life isn't perfect, but it's ours. Forged in fire, tempered by tears. Months turned into years, and Mia grew like a weed, her curls bouncing as she ran through the yard. She had Thomas's laugh, Carla's spirit, and my stubborn streak. School plays became family events, with Elise cheering loudest from the front row. But beneath the surface, ripples remained. I'd catch Thomas staring at old photos, a faraway look in his eyes. "Thinking about Carla?" I'd ask gently. Sometimes, he'd admit, "She gave me Mia. I owe her everything." I nodded, understanding. Grief doesn't fade. It reshapes. And Elise? She confided in me one evening over sweet tea on the porch. It hurt Mama May, knowing he had this whole other life. But Mia, she's the blessing we prayed for. We prayed together then, under the stars, for healing and grace. Mia joined us, her small voice piping up with questions about heaven and her mama up there. Those moments mended us, stitch by stitch. One Christmas, Mia found the photo, the one that started it all, in my drawer while hunting for hidden gifts. "Who's this?" she asked, holding it up. Thomas froze, but I smiled. "That's you, baby girl. The day your daddy first met you." Her eyes widened. "Really? Tell me the story." And so we did. The whole truth. Age-appropriate but honest. No more secrets. Mia listened, wide-eyed, then hugged us all. "I'm glad I found you," she said. "Me too, child. Me too." That photo, once a crusher of spirits, became a symbol of second chances. It sits framed now on the mantle, beside pictures of all of us. Thomas, Elise, Mia, and me. Family isn't born. It's built, one revelation at a time. But even now, when the wind whispers through the magnolias, I feel the echo of that heartbreak. It crushed my spirit, yes, but from the ashes, something stronger rose. Love in all its messy glory,